Hey, ESPN, I'm Jack. I'm the co-founder of Crack.com.
And I'm Miles, a former lobbyist that loves soccer and gets very nervous when I'm pulled over by the police.
And we're the hosts of The Daily Zeitgeist, a daily comedic news podcast that covers politics, pop culture, and we're both big sports fans. I'm actually named after my grandfather, legendary NBA coach Dr. Jack Ramsey.
Oh, well, I'm named after Miles Davis, a legendary heroin addict who is not my grandfather.
It's not a competition. So search The Daily Zeitgeist on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever fine podcasts, or give it away for free.
And now, Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio.
When I pop the trunk, head to death. Y'all pop the trunk, I pop the hood.
Now act stupid, I'll pop the trunk. Give me your boom.
Here's Jalen Rose.
What up, dog?
I'm David Jacoby.
And on the cool check-in.
And we are Jalen and Jacoby on ESPN Radio. What do we do?
We give the people what they want.
We're going to start today's show with this. LaMelo Ball, the youngest of the Ball brothers. Great name, by the way.
Yes.
Lonzo Ball, LiAngelo Ball. LaMelo Ball scored 92 points.
If your last name is Ball, either you slang crack rock or you got a wicked jump shot.
He's got a wicked jump shot. 92 points. 41 points in the fourth quarter. People have felt emotionally charged about this. When you heard about this, what did you feel?
Historic. And as you noted, from a basketball family, like his brother's starring at UCLA, has an opportunity to be a top 3 pick.
He will. He'll be a top 5.
And so to see him already commit so early in his high school career to UCLA and eliminate the whole process of recruiting and just focus on basketball because obviously he grew up so central to their campus, it continues to be one of those amazing stories of family. Don't underestimate, there are a few pairs of NBA brothers currently in the league, starting with Steph and Seth. So the Holiday brothers. So it's just
the Plumleys.
A terrific feat if you can have not only one athlete competing at a high level, high school, college, and pro, but also have two. It's amazing, especially if he's going to score 92 points. That's sick.
When you hear he scored 92 points, did it make you feel that perhaps they engineered the offense so he would score that much, or maybe the defense didn't focus on him enough, that something was just amiss with the game?
Well, there's a lot of ways to break it down. So there's the fan in me like, wow, in the empty gym, if you get 92 points, that is sick. That is crazy. That is work. And then you're going to peel back the onion some and be like, wait, who's he playing against? You're like, how did the Buckets look? Were they overpowering? Were they quick? Were they
deep
from
threes?
Deep?
Yeah.
Were they the type of buckets that have staying power? And from what I saw, how he was scoring the buckets, he's going to continue to be able to put buckets in the basket.
I did a little bit of research on this one. And there's a detail that I found out that I think you'd be interested in.
Okay.
I was thinking, he's the youngest one, right?
Yep.
And Lonzo's at UCLA, so where's LiAngelo, the middle one? He's on the team. Was he hurt? Oh, no, he didn't play that day, but that's one of the reasons LaMelo got to score so many points. Do you know why he didn't play, Mr. Rose?
Why didn't he play?
He was resting for the playoffs.
What?
Resting for the playoffs. High school.
What?
Resting for the playoffs.
I'm glad you're exposing that to the national media because you know how I feel about that.
How do you feel about that, Mr. Rose?
Not a fan of it at all. Because, again, like I told everybody, it started initially when fans and media was like, oh, he got 6 rings. He's the greatest of all time. We just only counted rings. And then we called MJ the GOAT, but Bill Russell had the most rings. That to logic is twitch. That's another subject for another day. But what ends up happening is, as an athlete, we should never have a way out other than playing as hard as you can for as long as you can, every chance you get. Now all of a sudden is, wait a minute, I'm a wing player, and all I have to do is shoot threes? I don't have to post up. I don't have to dribble. I don't have to play D. I can be a specialist? Now you have your power forwards. Oh, post up. Get rebounds. I'm a specialist from 3. So now we become a specialty game, a specialty league. And then in the league, because that's where the trends start, when the healthy players are resting, it's going to start happening in college. This year it's going to happen in college. You're going to have a team.
It happened in high school.
You're going to have a team that knows that, oh, our seed is set, so we're going to rest our guys. Mm-hmm. It's now going to be something that becomes a negative domino, as I've alluded to from the beginning in basketball.
I believe in rest for NBA superstars. Key NBA players in certain times in the season, you should rest. High school players? Heading into the high school playoffs?
Man,
I do not understand how the rest can be beneficial for LiAngelo Ball. I hope this is wrong. This was research that I didn't do. The production staff did and gave to me because I asked a question. But here's the thing. LiAngelo Ball, you cannot sit out a game for rest. You just cannot do it.
And then when it happens, your brother has a historic game. So now people like you want to dig deeper into the crates. Like, hold on,
what exactly happened? And LaMelo is like, I don't need him. I can't wait until he graduates. I'm going to put up 92 every game once he's gone.
Because he's a sophomore. And there were people, and it's going to happen when you have success, they try to pick it apart.
Of course. Where's
talk
the
about the quality of competition. Talk about them cherry picking. Here's the deal.
I watch the buckets. Those are buckets.
It's hard. One of the hardest things to do besides hit a golf ball accurately, hit a baseball consistently, is put a basketball in a bucket. That's one of the hardest things somebody's going to be able to do. You can get a guy that have stone hands, that can rebound, that's built like a chiseled Greek goddess. He still feels so good when he put that ball in the basket. It's just something about your run back. Everybody just practicing. Yeah, I made a basket. Look at me. It just feels so good. And you're feeling yourself. So when you get 92 points, salute.
You know, when you mention the haters and everyone's a detractor and they got something to say about the defense, the shot selection, or the offense or whatever, I only have one little comment. You need a haircut, dude. I know I'm out of touch. I know I'm the 40-year-old white dude in the building, but come on, man. You need a haircut.
That's a do now, really. If you notice, the majority of young people are actually rocking it. If you want to be different, you could just not have that look.
I mean, he weighs 120 pounds and 5 pounds of it is his hair.
Yeah.
KD is heading into Oklahoma City.
Easy money sniper.
For a game that people have had circled on their calendars for quite some time. He's going to head into Oklahoma City, where he used to play, all the emotional charge that comes with that. He's starting to get the questions asked to him, and he said this. Him and Westbrook's drama is all fake drama, completely made by the media. What? I don't think that's true, Mr. Rose. What do you think?
What's the LL think? The drama was fueled by the fact he chose to bolt via free agency and didn't tell his other All-NBA running mate. And so that relationship played out for public consumption.
He sent a text.
When Russell Westbrook was asked about him leaving during the summer. What's the clip say? The little laugh he did? And then all of a sudden, with our own two eyes, we saw those two teams play against one another, right? We saw Russell try to troll him with the outfit he wore to the game with the photographer.
Yeah, remember that.
We saw them not speak during the game, not give dap. So we didn't have to make that up. That storyline was given to us on a tray.
It's not what you do, it's how you do it. And I don't know the details, but something tells me that Russell Westbrook is upset with the way that Kevin Durant communicated that he was going to the Warriors to him. I believe that Russell Westbrook think that he was made certain promises from KD's mouth into his ears that KD didn't follow through with. So to say that this is created by the media is a falsehood. I'd say fueled by the media, propelled by the media. Sure, we're going to talk about it. Two of the best players in the league not talking to each other when they were teammates last year. But I do kind of think that a lot of players, and you included, use the media as an excuse a lot.
In this case, it's just not accurate because, again, it was teed up for the media how the circumstance played out. And we saw how the relationship changed from them sitting at a podium together, talking about how they were going to lead Oklahoma City possibly to the NBA Finals when they were up 3-1. To a locker room, I'm sure once you lose a game, you're walking around, you're patting backsides, telling everybody we're going to be back and we're going to find a way to lead you other 13 guys to now bolting during the summer and not reaching out to Russell. Like, that was given to us. We didn't have to find that.
He said, quote, it's that easy. It's that easy for the media to twist something up and for the media, to make a feud between us. Do you think that the media made the feud between them or the fact that Kevin Durant misled Russell Westbrook and then left his team and then texted him about it after the fact. I don't know. Which one do you think contributed more to this feud between the two of them?
The media, the least of the options.
The media has a report, a Woj bomb, that all of Phil Jackson's actions, his sneak dissing, his real dissing of Carmelo Anthony, has made Carmelo Anthony want to stay with the Knicks more. Does that make sense to you?
No.
Does any of this make sense to you?
No.
Me neither. We have an important update on a story that we've been covering vigorously here at Jalen and Jacoby. Tom Brady and Jalen Rose feel that James White should have been the MVP of the Super Bowl. That's debatable. What's not debatable is that Tom Brady said into a microphone that he was going to give the truck that comes with the MVP award to James White, as he did for Malcolm Butler. There's a problem, though, Jalen. They don't give out trucks anymore.
What?
We decided that Tom Brady owes him a truck. James White is now on wax saying, "Don't worry about it, Tom. You do not owe me a truck." Is he just being nice?
He's just being nice, but that doesn't take away from the fact that Tom does owe him a truck.
You owe me a truck.
And I do believe that he's going to get one, which is the more important answer to the question.
See, James White he's not high on the Patriots depth chart at running back, even though he scored 3 touchdowns in the Super Bowl. And I feel like he just likes his standing with the team. He likes everything that's happening. He likes being flown to Disneyland, Disney World. He just likes the MVP conversation. He doesn't want to rock the boat. But James White isn't like me. If Tom Brady says that he owes me a truck, I'm gonna be driving a truck that Tom Brady bought. And I'm gonna send him links every day with pictures, the color I like, the model I want. I'm gonna do research. I'm gonna be on Consumers Report comparing different trucks. Because now you can get any truck you want. If Tom Brady owed you a truck, what truck would you get?
I would
You get a minivan.
Get a minivan.
Yeah, that's right. You get a minivan. Great call.
And make sure I gave it to you.
I appreciate that, Mr. Rose. Someone who graces the walls of this very studio.
Well, it's only legends on the wall in here.
Gentleman by the name of Deion Sanders, but better known as
Prime Time. Prime Time. And when I used to play Madden, I used to call him Primal Fear. Neon Deion.
Thank you for that information. Primal Fear, Primetime, Neon Deion is back in the news. He's saying that Tony Dungy stole signals when they played each other.
What?
And Tony Dungy said it's all part of the game.
What?
Does Tony Dungy get a pass for stealing signals?
He's going to get a pass because he's being called out by a player, not the league. It would be different if it was from the league and from a team who reported it and then actually caught them doing it, i.e. Spygate and Deflategate.
It is different when someone is on the sidelines just giving signs for, 100,000 people can see. It's a little different than having an employee with a secret camera, film practice.
Not a game.
Yeah, there's a little bit.
Practice.
It's not a thin line. It's a very, very wide line. It's a gulf. It's a huge cliff, a Grand Canyon in between those two different
And let's just
acts.
teach everybody something.
Okay.
Belichick can still be the greatest coach of all time.
Sure.
Tom Brady still can be the greatest quarterback of all time.
Sure.
The only athlete other than Michael Jordan that I recall that's considered the GOAT while still playing at the MVP level that he is.
Jacoby Brissett comes to mind.
It still doesn't take away from the fact they cheated. It happened. It's okay. It doesn't diminish their legacy.
Did Michael Jordan go to play baseball on his own volition, or was he told to go and play baseball by the National Basketball Association?
I think that's urban legend. And another person that's the greatest while still playing the greatest, Serena Williams.
Woman Crush Wednesday. Gotta give Serena Williams hers.
Yep.
So you think Michael Jordan just woke up one day and said, I'm done with basketball, I want to play baseball?
I think he was just dealing with some things emotionally.
Okay. Michael Floyd played for the Patriots for 17 days. Made $1.2 million and got a championship ring. Are you happy for Michael Floyd?
Sure. He had the talent to play football. He caught himself in an unfortunate circumstance. Mm-hmm. Another team believed in him, picked him up. He showed up, did whatever the squad asked him to do, and he won a Super Bowl. It's no different than LeGarrette Blount. he got kicked off a Pittsburgh Steelers team for some transgressions. He went on to another squad. Like, this is kind of what takes place.
Isaiah Thomas has been making a lot of noise lately. People are starting to recognize him for his scoring, especially in the fourth quarter, and saying he's a potential MVP candidate, which I think is a bit of a reach, but whatever. Him and Tom Brady text. Isaiah Thomas explained that when he texted Tom Brady after Super Bowl texted him right back, which I think is a bit of a brag. And Tom Brady said, quote, "It's your turn next." Is Tom Brady putting unrealistic expectations on Isaiah Thomas and the Celtics?
What do I gauge success on?
Expectations.
Realistic.
These are not realistic expectations. It is not the Celtics. It's not. It is your turn next to make the conference finals. It is not your turn next to win the championship.
And Tom Brady and the Boston area, Massachusetts, you know this better than me. Is there a town, major professional sports, that you guys get a chance to celebrate more titles than anybody else?
It wasn't always like this, Jalen. It wasn't always like this. The last 16 years, I think there's been 11 championships in the four major sports. Even the Bruins chipping in here and there. The Celtics had one, which you remember, went to the finals. It's been an exciting time in the 617. Martellus Bennett, member of the Patriots, had like a really thoughtful sort of like Twitter rant, sort of about his position, not just as an athlete, but as a person and values in life and education and your goals and how he can't pass football down to his children, so he encourages them to be other things. It was a very long, sort of like well thought out. It made me like him more, this Twitter rant that he went on. But he did mention one thing, quote, "I have 2 libraries in my house, thousands of books. I love to read because I know that for a long time ancestors weren't allowed to." Again, it's a thoughtful thing to say. It brings into mind the perspective of sort of, you know, being an African American and all those. But my question is 2 libraries, one too many libraries in your house?
Yeah. If I disagree. If he had 2 wine cellars, would you think it was too many?
Yes, I would. Yeah.
If he had 2 refrigerators, would you think it's too many?
No, I wouldn't.
If he had 2 bathrooms, would you think it's too many?
Too few.
I don't think it's that many at all. That's one of the things in 2017 I'm trying to do a lot more of. And my better half is trying to encourage me to do as well. Read.
I have a theory about people that display their books in their house. It's pretentious. They're showing off. They're saying to you, look at all of these books that I have read. Because after you've read a book, it's not like an album or even a movie where you can go back to it. After you've read a book, it is now useless to you. You're never just like, oh, let me just pull this out and read page 300 just to refresh my memory on what was happening in Catcher in the Rye. I think that people that display their books prominently in their house are just showing off all the things that they've read and how smart they are. Do you agree?
No, that's why it's called a library. Because just because you've read it, that doesn't mean you can't share it with a family member, a friend, a loved one. So you keep it. You don't just, you read a book, you want them to throw it in the garbage?
No, give it away to someone else, just like you suggested. But I feel like the people use large, gaudy bookshelves to show off their intelligence and how well-read they are.
It's a mental museum. Look up. It just flew over your head.
You come to my house, do you know what you're not going to see? Books. We have a lot of books, actually, but they're like 10 pages long. There's a lot of pictures in there for children. So NBA owners get together and do what sort of Illuminati members do. They dine, and they wine, and they chat, and they have off-wax conversations about the business. Joe Lacob was explaining one of these off-wax interactions that he had with another owner in the NBA, a gentleman you may have heard of by the name of Michael Jeffrey Jordan. He explained, quote, "People are drinking and having a good time and all that. But there was a moment where he said, 73 don't mean bleep. He did it. Michael Jordan did that." Does he not know how competitive Michael Jordan is?
Michael is the only person that can actually say that and mean it. Yep. And should be the only person that actually articulates that. Yep. For all of us who are watching the Golden State Warriors play basketball last year, 73 wins, it really does mean something. You know why?
Sure did.
Because you can't get to your goals overlooking steps in the journey. There's reasons why they have Player of the Week, Player of the Month. There's reasons why you have a division champion, a conference champion. These are all things that become obstacles on the way for you to get your ultimate goal. That's winning a championship. So, in Jordan's estimation, as an owner, while he's thinking about what his teams accomplished when he was in Chicago, how do you think he'd like it if Charlotte won 73 games?
Don't you wish Joe Lacob just came back and said, "Oh yeah, you're right. 73 wins doesn't mean much." How many wins did the Hornets have last year? What was that? What was that 40, 47? About 46? Like, it just seems like he really opened himself up for a nice retort there.
He did, but here's a duality. Michael Jordan is actually speaking from a player's perspective of the Bulls, not really as an owner of the Hornets, because he would take that all day.
Yeah. You know what I found most surprising about this is Joe Lacob said that he was hurt by the comment. Is he being too sensitive?
He wasn't hurt.
Was he really hurt by that? And again, it's like Michael Jordan is Michael Jordan. He's not known as being a nice, warm, fuzzy, happy guy that just is likable and embraces everybody and makes everybody around him feel warm and nice and happy. That's not who Michael Jordan is. He's extremely competitive. So when he sees you, he just sees an adversary, a competitor, and he wants to make you feel worse about yourself. Joe Lacob needs to know that.
And also, too, people get so enthusiastic about the right now that everybody's quick to try to have a hot take and say, what's the greatest? How many times was that said last year about the Warriors? Steph, the greatest player of all time. Is he the best guard? Are they the best team? Will they beat the early 80s Lakers? Will they beat the Bulls?
We stopped comparing them to other teams in this season, this year. It started being like, well, if we had a time machine, who could beat the Lakers? I mean, who could beat the Warriors? It was ridiculous. Ty Lue is talking about managing LeBron's minutes. On LeBron, he said, quote, "He's being bullheaded about it. He doesn't want to back down because he says they're in a good rhythm right now." LeBron keeps saying, well, it's Ty Lue's decision whether or not I rest or not. It's too much focus being put on LeBron James' minutes.
No, because LeBron James playing less frequent last year, to me, is ultimately what led to them winning the championship. Here's some math everybody should pay attention to. The playoffs start mid-April. The champion isn't crowned until mid-June. If you take care of business in the Eastern Conference like the Cavs did, you can find yourself playing minimal games as you advance. This gives LeBron a chance to rest, which they took advantage of, which also led, in my opinion, to the Golden State Warriors breaking down physically, in particular Andre Iguodala and Bogut.
And Steph.
To now have to fight the gauntlet of the West, San Antonio, and so many other tough teams. If the Cavs can handle their business, 4-0, 4-1, 4-1. That buys LeBron James so many times that he can rest.
Are you mismanaging LeBron James's minutes if he averages more minutes per game than anyone else in the whole entire league?
Yes.
That's what it feels like to me. It feels like they are mismanaging his minutes. They're forgetting what happened last year.
But it's not because they're mismanaging the minutes. It's because they need him out there. No J.R. Smith. Who's going to create when he or Kyrie's not on the floor? And they still need to get the number one seed in the East. That's not a foregone conclusion. Like, they still have to show up and play and get the number one seed.
They are 2.5 games ahead of the Celtics right now as we record this. Is there a chance the Celtics end up as the top spot?
No, that will not take place.
Even with a trade?
That will not take place.
That will not take place?
The Cleveland Cavaliers will be the number one seed in the East and represent that conference in the finals.
But Tom Brady texted Isaiah Thomas and told him that they're next.
Okay.
You don't think that has any effect on the Celtics' record in the regular season?
No.
If you were Ty Lue, would you dial back LeBron's minutes?
He will. He's going to. It's going to take place as the year progresses. But again, they still need somebody else to play the minutes. That's the whole issue.
John Wall and Bradley Beal had a very nice, heartfelt thank you for the Wizards fans who supported them through their record-breaking home win streak. And I remember, wasn't it John Wall complaining last week when they hosted the Lakers that there were too many Lakers fans there? Are they just trying to make nice after they disrespected their own fans just about a week ago?
It's not about making nice. It's about recognizing that we're a team that's out there legitimately trying to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, and you're celebrating the purple and gold. It's one thing if they had Magic or Kobe in uniform and you were cheering for the team, but it is a slap in the face when you're cheering for this group of Lakers on our home floor and we have a better record than them.
The Raptors have won 4 of their last 10. The Wizards are only 1 game behind them in the standings. Do you think the Wizards could catapult over the Raptors?
They could. The Raptors got to get it together. They've dealt with some injuries. They're really going to need their backcourt, in particular DeRozan and Lowry, to be healthy. They're going to need Corey Joseph to still play quality minutes. The 4 position, to me, continues to be a weak spot for them. Constantly getting somebody to play and give them consistent numbers. I always look at Valanciunas' box score when I watch their team play. If he's around a double-double, getting a block, if he's active, playing big, to me, that is a turning point for their team with that hole at the 4.
There's a gentleman in the NBA who's named DeMarcus Cousins. He also goes
Boogie!
by... There's a development in the ongoing story of Boogie Cousins. After he was kicked out of the game, suspended for another game, fined $25,000, pushed an opposing assistant coach, he has deactivated his Twitter and Instagram accounts.
What?
What's going on with Boogie?
He's internalizing everything that's taking place. He's on a team headed for the lottery while he's headed for the All-Star game. So that's a schism that you have to juggle mentally, physically, emotionally, and it plays out on the floor. Guys, when you're on a team that's not as talented as the team that are in front of you, you got to win every play. It's like when you're playing rec ball and you get down and you know your team isn't as good, so you fight for every call, and it becomes frustrating. Now, I'm not going to defend the emotional outbursts that sometimes seem undisciplined, but just as a basketball player, that is what continues to happen because they're clearly not as talented as the teams they play on a nightly basis.
Can we consider this action by Boogie in one way or another, whether 1% or 99%, unblocking Bill Simmons?
Yes.
Can we take a little bit of credit?
Yes.
You know what he said? He's like, you know what? This is so much stress.
I don't want to deal with anybody.
All these people tweeting me about unblocking Bill. He's like, I don't want any of this. It's not about you, Bill. It's about me. I don't want this anymore. I'm just going to delete the account. You're welcome, Bill. Boogie Cousins no longer is blocking you on Twitter. I found something kind of interesting.
Okay.
Here's a question for you. If you had a vote, and I know they don't give you a vote, why don't they give you a vote, Jalen?
I think I vote this year.
Really?
I voted for the All-Star stuff, so I think I got a vote officially this year.
You sold out, Jalen. You used to be in the trunk. You used to have a bat.
I just didn't tell you I voted.
Sold out.
I voted this year.
Just because you're wearing a chain doesn't mean you didn't sell out. Right now, who are your all-NBA guards? It's hard.
First team?
No, first, second, and third team. Just who do you have as your all-NBA guards?
All NBA guards have to be...
You get 2 guard spots.
On the first team, it has to be Russell and Harden.
Okay, the 2 MVP. That's an easy one, so that's done.
On the second team, it has to be Curry and Thomas.
Huh.
On third team, it should be Wall and Kyrie.
That's close to what I had. I had Kyrie over Curry, just based on what I've seen from Kyrie lately. Is there any consideration for Kemba Walker or Kyle Lowry?
Not in this conversation, and it's hard for me to hear you justify putting Kyrie over Curry when he probably doesn't average more points, rebounds, or assists, and his team doesn't have more wins.
Well, I watch the basketball games, and I like what Kyrie does more than I like what Steph Curry does. Simple as that. You know what? I'm not the analytics dude. I'm not going on basketball.
This is why you get it right and I get it wrong.
And everything else. I'm not the analytics guy.
This is why you've gotten predictions a lot more correct than I have.
There was a great game between the Portland Trail Blazers and the Dallas Mavericks.
Yes, it was.
I just so happened to catch it. Dirk hits a 25-foot three. CJ McCollum gets a bucket. CJ McCollum gets another bucket. Dirk hits another deep three. And he does that 3 thing, you know, how he holds up a 3. Not like Americans do, but like Europeans do. Grabs his arm. He was so excited. And then CJ McCollum, after he was fouled, hit a floater to win the game.
float, float on.
It was a fascinating basketball game. I have a lot of questions about it. Just because I intentionally always go to a negative space, because that's the kind of person I am. Does Dame Lillard feel a certain way about CJ McCollum?
No, because they've consistently divvied up who they're going to get the ball to in those situations, and both have proven to be capable. Dame came out like wildfire early in his career when he's playing with LaMarcus Aldridge. We saw him have a coming-out party, in particular in the playoffs. Left wing, I remember the three-point jumper he hit. But C.J. McCollum has proved to be very capable in those situations. And so at that point, you go against the matchup. And it looked like, in particular, they were going at Yogi Ferrell's man. And so because of that, you continue to give him the ball. And then the last time, he had Matthews on him, but it was like he had already hit a couple, so you might as well let him cook.
Mark Cuban has said that Yogi Ferrell makes him look smarter than the average Bear. Does Mark Cuban take too much credit for what the Mavs organization does?
No, he's the owner, and I'm pretty sure he has his fingerprints on all of the decisions. And while he should take credit for player moves like Yogi Ferrell, who came out of nowhere, they both have Indiana Hoosier backgrounds. But also, there are a lot of moves that put them in a position to when you look down at the standings, the Mavs have 20 wins.
Does that make you look smart? Does it make you look smart when you got 20 wins? More than halfway through the season.
But to my point, they're still in the race for the A seed in the West, for whatever that's worth.
Marcus Keene, the gentleman, 5'9", playing basketball at Central Michigan, transferred from Youngstown State. He now leads the country in scoring with 399 points and points per game with 30.7 points per game. Is this the next great small school guard?
Is that Central Michigan?
Yep. We've got Steph Curry. We just spoke about CJ McCollum, Dame Lillard. There are a lot of guards that score that come from small schools.
You said Central Michigan, right?
And blow up in the NBA.
Okay. He lead the league. He lead the nation in scoring. You said that?
Yes, sir.
He been balling. And the thing about his game that I like, his three ball off the dribble. And usually when you play at a small school, how you quantify a guy that can get buckets, Damian Lillard, Steph Curry, is if they can still shoot with range off the dribble, even if they're slighter built. Because it's something that continues to translate as you get older, as you get stronger. But if you got range on that thing, that's something that people can't take away from you. And so it'll be interesting to see how he progresses, but I have followed him, watched him play, and he's killing it.
There are a lot of guards that come to mind, like Norris Cole comes to mind. Sort of like small schools, small guards that translated to the NBA.
C.J. McCollum.
Well. Evan Turner got injured in that game against the Mavs, and here's what he said about the injury, quote, "It was a janky injury. I would have much rather have been going up for a dunk or something cool like that, not playing defense and chasing someone over a screen." How did you feel about your hand injury when you broke your hand?
It was a freak injury because it was a play that I committed a long time. I was one of those players that tried to find a way to get somebody in a position as soon as they go up for the ball, swat it from them. I tried to be pretty good at that. And so it was something that I'd done frequent. We were playing at Golden State. I was a member of the Raptors. Cliff Robinson had the ball. Late first quarter. Swipe at the ball, boom. Go right to the huddle. Man, I broke my hand.
How'd you know?
Because my pinky finger and my ring finger, they were separated from my middle finger. That's kind of how I knew. They were far apart.
Wow.
Yeah. And so I continued to play the game. I was like, when you guys throw me a pass, just throw it to me. I'm going to cup it like a football. So I just hit me in the right side of my body.
So why are you doing that?
Because I wanted to finish the game.
Why?
It was one of my favorite games that I've played. I think I ended up making like 1 or 2 shots in the paint where I could barely reach my hand up. And it was a game that I'm proud that I was able to finish. We won. The next day I flew back, had surgery on my hand. Today, I have a plate and 5 screws in my hand.
How long were you out?
8 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. I came back and I played with a glove, one of those Michael Jackson gloves, so to speak, with a hard cast on top of the part of my hand that was injured. And it was clearly a target because cats were swatting at it, but some of the casualties come with the game.
Do you know who's really impressed by your comeback from your broken hand? Quincy Jacoby. Still brings it up to this day. My 3-year-old son is so impressed by Jalen's scar that he got from playing basketball. He talks about it when you're not around.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he does. It's the best. That was Cliff Robinson was on the team there. Did you see him on Survivor?
Uncle Cliff, I did not.
Did you see The Bachelor this week? With
Absolutely
Nick?
not.
Did you watch the Challenge premiere last night?
No, sir.
You going to watch any of those?
No. I'm going to watch NBA basketball tonight.
On ESPN?
Yes. While you're watching The Bachelor.
The two of us have just reviewed some video. It is video of what people are trying to lead us to believe is a meteor coming from space, flying, and then crashing into Lake Michigan. When you watch that video, is that what you saw?
Shining star on my home state. It's our turn. That's all this means to me.
That's all that means to you. Mm-hmm. You do not think that that is an alien spacecraft full of beings that are here to colonize our planet.
It's been noted that when our country gets sick, my hometown gets the flu. To me, that was a light shining that was so bright that's going to continue to lead to the fortunes of our great turnaround.
So you don't think that those are aliens that have shapeshifted into kangaroos that are going to colonize America, starting with Lake Michigan and then spreading from there?
No, sir.
You and I just disagree on that then, so let's move on. Matthew Dellavedova's signature shoe has been released upon the planet.
What?
I ain't mad at him.
It's from Peak.
I ain't mad at him.
Chinese. Jalen.
What?
How did Matthew Dellavedova get a signature shoe?
International player.
From Australia.
That's why.
How did this happen?
It's literally that brand hoping to capitalize on that market, not necessarily capitalizing on him playing in Milwaukee or even as much so in the NBA, because he doesn't have that type of fan base around the league.
I just think of all the players. I mean, I could, if it wasn't so boring, I could write a list of probably 50 players that should have a signature shoe before Matthew Dellavedova. I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. If they sent you a free pair, would you wear Matthew Dellavedova's signature shoe?
I'm wearing all free gear.
That's what I'm saying. I knew you would. That was really a test to see if he would lie. If you send it to Jalen Rose, he will wear it. If it is free, he will wear it. However, after he has worn it once, he'll throw it away. Uber is a company that you're familiar with, yes?
Yes, indeed.
Uber everywhere.
Should I be deleting that from my phone?
Yes, you should. Uber hired a veteran NASA engineer, a gentleman by the name of Mark Moore. Do you know what they hired him to do?
What's that?
Work on flying cars.
What?
So let me tell you why this is a good idea. Just like the NFL changing the tackling rules, just like the Redskins changing their name, just like Chief Wahoo is eventually going to be removed from the Cleveland Indians lexicon, it is inevitable that we will have flying cars. So let's not fight this. Let's embrace this. Are you for or against people developing flying cars?
I'm against it.
Why is that?
It seems like it's going to be a lot more dangerous.
Yep.
Really?
They're cars that clearly operate while being on the ground with the use of gravity, correct?
I've seen those cars. Yeah, I'm familiar with those vehicles.
So now all of a sudden you have more items in the air flying. It amazes me as someone that travels so much, if you paid attention to the frequency of airplanes and how they take off and land at a major metropolitan airport, and how many times they basically cross paths in the air, you'd be surprised how close or how many planes are actually exchanging at one time. So I'm not a fan of the flying car.
Nope.
Have you ever been on a plane, looked out the window, looked down at the ground, and said to yourself, how am I up here?
I remember watching the Jetsons, and I thought that this would happen sooner than now, flying cars. But I'm also I also remember the Flintstones. They was controlling the cars with their feet.
That's deep. Do you know when I'm going to buy a flying car?
When minivans can float.
Exactly.
You already have one. It's a blimp.
Exactly.
That's what it'll be in the air.
Oh, come on. That hurts my feelings. Japanese copier maker Konica Minolta releasing a handheld device. It's called a kun-kun. Do you know what the kun-kun does?
Don't get fired.
The kun-kun tells you
Or
whether
divorced.
or not you smell. It is a device that tells you whether you are funky or not. This could be really helpful. Are you into the kun-kun?
Sure. I would love to see what it's about.
I'm into that too. I had a while of my life where I thought maybe I was a funky person and no one ever told me about it. Because we all know those smelly people in our lives, but we don't tell them that they're smelly. That's ridiculous.
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. No, I mean habitual smelly people.
Okay.
Like, oh, that person is smelly. Now, if one of my friends who is normally not smelly is particularly smelly on a certain day, I will bring it up.
There you go.
But if you smell all the time, I'm not going to bring it up. I thought I was one of those people for a while, and the kun-kun would solve that for me.
How does this work?
Do you really think I can answer that?
I hope so.
See, that's the thing. One thing that men do here on Women Crush Wednesday, and my wife always uses the term mansplain. So I don't know the answer to that, but I will mansplain my way through the answer of that. There are certain molecules in body odor that this device can detect, and it detects the presence of those molecules. Then it will tell you that you are funky. That's a mansplanation right there. Christy Brinkley is in the swimsuit issue. 63 years old. Does that bring back any memories for you?
It does. Sports Illustrated, early 80s. Mm-hmm. Heartthrob cover of the magazine. Is that what kicked off the Sports Illustrated issues?
No. Do you have conflicted feelings about the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue?
I'm not mad at the Sports Illustrated swimsuit issue, but it ain't Jet Beauty of the Week.
No. As I've gotten older, I find that my feelings toward the Sports Illustrated issue are starting to change. As I get more mature, and I start to think it's Women Crush Wednesday, and I just start to think that perhaps this is not the form in which we should be objectifying women like this. However, I still, quote-unquote, read every single issue that they come out with. So I might be a little bit hypocritical there. Kentucky Fried Chicken is releasing the Chizza. Do you know what that is?
No, sir.
Imagine a personal pan pizza, but instead of crust, it is fried chicken. Are you into the Chizza?
No, I'm not into it. There's certain things you can like, but not like them together. I like chicken on pizza, but I don't want fried chicken with pizza.
Thank you for that. All-Star Weekend is a big weekend on the sports calendar, especially for those of us NBA fans. And one of the things that people are always doing is just trying to make the All-Star Weekend a little bit better. So what we've done is we've reached out to those on our 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed and just said, what can you suggest to make All-Star Weekend better? And we have some really interesting answers. This one from James. All-Star Cooking Contest. Since it's in NOLA this year, Cajun cooking rotate based on the city. What do you think of that?
I like the idea in premise, except when you're trying to have competition, people cheer and have it on television. It's hard to, I guess, produce all of those dynamics for the NBA player. And also, when you're cooking, it takes time.
Yeah, cooking
Prepare the
shows
food,
are
buy
good.
the food. It takes a lot of time.
Cooking shows are good, but anyone who's watched someone cook something on a morning show
it takes
knows
time.
that it's pre-produced.
Right.
You don't want to watch live cooking. But I like the idea. I especially like that you changed the cuisine based on where your city is. Now, this one is a no-brainer. This idea right here, Jalen, I'm going to say it to you, and you're going to say, duh, of course. It's from Mackay, Ireland. I'm using their entire name because this idea is so good. It's simple. Allow players to use social media during the game. What?
I got to teach you something.
No, you don't.
I do.
I have to teach you something. This is a great idea.
I got to teach you
I have
something.
to teach you what's
I gotta
entertaining, what's fun, what makes things better, what the word improvement means.
You play high school basketball?
Yes.
Okay. Did
Go
you guys
Hurricanes.
Did you guys have pockets in your shorts?
No.
They don't have that in college and pro either. So what is 15 people going to do with 15 phones while the game is happening? Please share that with me.
When you said you had to teach me something, I was like, oh, okay, I'll learn something right now. What did you effectively teach me? That there are no pockets on basketball shorts? I really thought you were going somewhere with that, Jalen, and I was very disappointed. Do you know where the phones go? On the bench. You're not going to actually use the phones while the game is being played. I just want to see updates from the bench, Snapchats between people on the bench, Snapchats of warm-ups
so
or
let me
halftime.
get
I just want a little
right.
Antonio Brown. I want a little Antonio Brown here.
Let me get
you know
this
what?
right.
I don't want you to get it right. I don't want to listen to you.
So first off, you used a football player when you gave a basketball analogy.
I stopped listening a while ago.
So there's no assigned seats in basketball. So in other words, when the coach calls you in the game, you're just going to leave your phone in the fifth chair and then you're just going to come back and sit right in that chair again? It doesn't work that way.
Yeah, that's pretty much what I'm proposing.
Okay.
You don't want to leave your phone there in case like a text pops up or something?
You just said Tom Brady lost his jersey. Imagine if somebody lost their phone. When the last time you lost your phone?
Okay, how about this? With enough foresight, we can give you a burner phone with your Twitter account on it. Okay? We give you a burner phone with your Twitter account. You put a passcode on there. It's basically just there for whatever social media you want to use.
Ain't that why they have public relations and media relations and social media personnel there to do as such, so the individuals whose job is to entertain the fans in the arena as well as the millions watching on television can focus on what's going to happen on the hardwood?
I'm going to move on. Just because you're upsetting me. And you're wrong. Alex Scruggs says this. Require LeBron to honor his promise of being in the dunk contest. Someone needs to challenge Aaron. What do you think of that idea, Mr. Rose?
If he was going to do it, he would have done it by now. You don't get older and competing in the dunk contest now.
Dunking. Yeah,
he leading the league in minutes.
Yeah,
he ain't about to be.
He's not going to be in the dunk contest.
contest.
The problem is he was just too good off the jump. He never had to make a name for himself by winning the dunk contest. That's what Aaron Gordon is doing.
Yep.
He's making a name for himself from winning the dunk contest. He's a great player. I'm not going to get many. I'm not trying to disrespect what he does on the court. But it's a come up now. It's not something for superstars. Next one. No more East versus West. Allow the coaches to draft all-star selections like a pickup game. That's from James.
They did it in the Pro Bowl, and you know what happened after they did it? They went back to the other way.
Don't you think that would be fun, though?
No.
Why not?
I rather it be conference versus until my actual NBA rule change takes place. And that is 1 through 16 playoff seeding should be just that. It's head scratching to me when I look down at the standings and I'm looking at the Western Conference 8th spot, for example. It's a lock that the first 7 teams are in. Now imagine if it was 1 through 16. It'd be a lot more intrigue as opposed to us watching to see what team below 500 is going to get the 8th spot.
I mean, this is a no-brainer, but don't you feel like you do have to change the schedule so Eastern Conference teams don't just play Eastern Conference teams? It becomes more of a conference-less league where you play teams an equal amount of times or rotating year to year.
No, you can still do it that way because, in theory, it's set up that way for travel and the geography of it. But if the Miami Heat were to play against the Portland Trail Blazers in the playoffs, they're still flying private.
But you know the different rules how you play in conference the team more times than you play a team in the other conference.
Correct.
So in theory, the Eastern Conference teams could end up with better records because they played other poor teams, and they could kick out a Western Conference team from the top 16 that didn't have to go through a tougher schedule, such an easy schedule.
I appreciate your astute question. And here's the answer to that. You play 82 regular season NBA games.
Fact.
50 versus your own conference.
Yep.
Play that schedule. Normal. Here's why. Because there are teams that sometimes you play against 4 times in your conference. There are other times you play against them 3.
Yep.
We're not judging that. There are teams
But they
that
rotate that year to
have
year.
different levels of back-to-backs. There are teams that have games spread in between. So I just say take the best 16 teams, seed them as such, and allow them to line up and play basketball.
We're going to map this out, Jalen Rose. We're going to do a full segment and just go through every single detail.
And here's something you can do to stump your friends if you want to.
Tell them it's a good idea to put social media, have the players do social media in the All-Star game.
Who won the Atlantic Division last year?
Boston Celtics.
Who won the Pacific?
Golden State Warriors.
Who won the North?
Toronto Raptors.
There is no North Division. My point exactly.
That's not fair. Did you just do that? That's not fair. That's not fair. That's not fair. Jalen. I'm going to start making you do more movie plots. I like this one, too. This is from Faraz. Add a 4-point line during Sunday's game at 40 feet from the basket.
No, this is not MTV Rock and Jock.
But it should be MTV Rock and Jock. It's not a competitive basketball
When the
game.
last time you saw that on TV looking exciting and enthusiastic and people can't wait
I
to
think
tune
Dan
in?
Cortez was involved.
Okay.
Shout out to Dan Cortez. You're just going to say no. Wouldn't it be fun?
It's still just as fun when a guy pulls up and he makes it. When you have a line, now you have people aiming from a distance. It's just not good basketball.
What about this? It's all worth 3 points, but there are various colored zones just to show how far away they're shooting from. It's all worth the same amount, but we just get a visual look of like a heat zone of how far away they are.
How many colors do you want on the court? Like, do you? It's a hardwood floor. We're gonna color the paint.
Jalen.
We're gonna maybe color the logo.
Jalen.
And let's just hoop.
Jalen, there's no bad ideas in a brainstorm.
Let's just hoop.
You know what? That's not true. There are definitely bad ideas in a brainstorm. And
I know.
admittedly,
You bring them all
that
of the
wasn't
time.
one of my best. As it is Woman Crush Wednesday, we will open up our phone lines. You can call 985-80-JALEN. Leave us a voicemail.
Shout out.
We love to put them in the show.
Shout out.
We can hear you, our fans.
Shout out.
Let's listen to the first female caller on our voicemail line.
Hey, Jalen. Hey, Jacoby. I was just wondering, what is your favorite meal that your significant other cooks for you?
My wife is Jamaican, of Jamaican
Jamaica's
heritage.
good. Jamaica's very good.
Rice and peas and jerk chicken. It's not the fanciest, but God, it is so good. Joey Jacoby's rice and peas and jerk chicken make me so happy.
My significant other is half Albanian, half Italian. And my favorite dish is actually chicken cutlets. As much chicken as I've eaten in my life, I wasn't exposed to it. Excellent. You should try it. Have you had chicken cutlets before?
Okay. I believe a chicken cutlet is just a slice of a chicken breast.
It's all about how you flavor it, sir.
Okay. Let's continue. Let's
It's
listen
all
to the
about
next
how you
voicemail.
flavor it, sir.
Before either of us get in trouble, let's listen to the next voicemail.
Hey, Jalen and Jacoby. This is Naomi, longtime listener, and love watching you guys on TV, especially when I'm at college. And right now, I'm currently in school. And I was wondering, I just got lunch, so I was wondering, what were you guys' favorite food in college? When you guys were in college and you wanted to eat something, what was, like, your go-to?
Shout out to Naomi. Shout out to everybody who's just educating themselves, learning things
You must learn.
in college. Also, I love that we have 2 food questions off the top. My favorite food in college is simple. I went to college in New York City in Manhattan. Pizza slice. $1.50 on every corner. And if I really felt like a treat, just walk over to Gray's Papaya. 50-cent hot dogs. Get 4 of those, I'm good.
My answer is more distinct because it's 2. One for breakfast, Bob Evans. The other thing is fast food. McDonald's, Wendy's, Taco Bell, pizza.
Working in sports, one thing I've learned is athletes eat bad. Like they work out so much and they're in such good shape, but via natural blood, sweat, and tears, but also kind of genetics involved too. It's like Ocho Cinco eats McDonald's before every game when he played. Every game. If I eat McDonald's, I don't feel right for 3 days. And you mix Cheetos and Fritos and drink it like a smoothie and lose weight. Let's listen to the next voicemail. Hopefully it's about food.
Else.
Hey y'all, it's Meredith from Philly. I have 2 questions. What current NBA player would you like to see on MTV Cribs? Second question, what are the chances Beyonce will name her twins Jalen and Jacoby? Thanks, guys. Listen to the show every day. Much love from Philly.
Thank you so much for the call, Meredith.
Big shout out to the Philadelphia. The Philadelphia.
You know what? I have a feeling that the NBA player that I want to see on Cribs is the same NBA player that Meredith wants to see on Cribs. Who's that, Mr. Rose? She's calling from Philly.
Oh, Joel Embiid.
There you go. He's entertaining. He's funny. I think that'd be a really good episode.
I like that. No chance.
Zero
J&B
chance.
Went named their kids Jalen and Jacoby.
Zero chance.
No chance.
Zero chance. You don't think that he watches the show, the two of them just snuggled up at night, can't sleep. Jalen and Jacoby comes on ESPN News late at night. They're like, we love these guys. Those are good names. And they saw the episode where I was mad at them for being on my corner with all the kids. And they felt bad. And they said, you know what? Let's throw that guy a bone. Let's name our children Jalen and Jacoby.
He's all right, but he's not real.
Do you know why they're not going to name their kids Jalen and Jacoby? Too normal in names. They named their first kid Blue. Okay? They're not naming their second kid Jalen. It's going to be like green and fuchsia. Let's listen to the next voicemail.
Hey, this is Jennifer in Phoenix. I adore your show and what you do with music, so I am going to make this suggestion that might seem really nitpicky, so I apologize, but this music bed that you play in the first segment of the show, you're always playing it, and you guys have so much music and know so much about music that, I mean, you know, I'm going to survive hearing that music bed, but it just kills me because you guys have so much stuff, and there are so many things you could cut up and play behind you. So that's all I got, and fantastic show. My favorite show on ESPN Radio. Peace.
This is great. This is one of my favorite
Shout
calls.
to Jen from Phoenix.
This is one of my favorite calls, and I'll tell you why. In the first segment of the show, Reggie always plays Dead Prez hip-hop beat behind us. Yep. He changes all the other music in the show, but for some reason in segment 1 is the Dead Prez hip-hop beat. However, we have the best staff in the business. Not a large staff. I'm assuming that Reggie was not the one who screened these calls. Nope. And that makes me feel like behind the scenes, whoever did screen those calls was listening to Jennifer and being like, yeah, yeah, finally someone said it. Finally someone said it. So, you know what? I'm going to say that Jennifer is probably 1 degree of separation away from someone that works on this show. And they're using Jennifer as a mouthpiece, as a puppet, to air their grievances about Reggie's musical selection. I think we got a problem here.
Oh, we got a problem here?
We got problems, Jalen. We have dissension amongst the staff. Yep. We're falling apart. We're eating ourselves from the inside right now. Let's get Jennifer's caller ID. Can we call her back? Because something tells me we're going to call, and one of our television producers is going to pick up the phone. Just a theory. Do you think that'll work?
Try it. Maybe.
Let's try the next voicemail.
Hey, Jalen. Hey, Jacoby. It's Heather B. from Long Island calling again. Long-time listener, fan of the podcast. Well, I was listening to the podcast yesterday, and I just happened to examine the logo for some odd reason. And we all know Jalen from his NBA days and his Fab Five days, but why is he holding a baseball bat? Just curious. Anyway, keep getting in check. Love you guys. Bye.
What up, though? Heather B. representing Long Island. We appreciate your support of the pod.
Glocks down.
Rocking the bat has seminal meanings, almost like a nickname once you do it.
Seminal meanings.
Yes.
Okay.
Initially, I just loved baseball, and there was a bat laying around, and I wanted to hold it during the show.
That's really what it was. Like, I mean, it has taken on different meanings over time, about 7 or 8 of them. But I was there, the very first podcast we ever did, when we literally didn't know each other. There was a bat lying there, and you picked it up and put it on your shoulder.
Because baseball, to me, and hitting a hard ball accurate is the hardest thing in sports. the absolute thing. So I always admired people that can do it, because if you've ever stood in the batter's box and somebody's throwing 80, 90 miles an hour at you, you can appreciate and respect it. But then as time progressed, it was almost like Linus in his blanket.
Yeah, I have
then
to
it was
defend
almost
myself
like
against the
my
haters.
bodyguard against,
Yeah.
people getting upset with what I have to
My
say.
blue collar approach. There's been a lot of different explanations.
And also, too, it's just a different look for a guy who has a basketball background. And we talk about various amounts of things. So it was a different visual that we wanted to present.
I've asked you this multiple times, and I just want to see if I'm going to get a different answer this time. I have a theory that someone got in your ear and told you to stop carrying the bat because you look menacing. Is that theory correct?
That is not correct. I don't carry the bat for the same reason I don't want to sing.
What's that?
It's in the logo now. You don't see Michael Jordan walking around with his tongue out all day. That's what the logo's for.
That explanation made less sense than mine.
You don't have to do the action of your logo.
So
it's already on wax.
So I can fix my hairline in the logo?
Sure.
You
should
don't mean
fix that tie.
You don't mean that's a good tie? Oh, yeah.
You cut it.
That makes me sad. Can we listen to one more voicemail? That one made me sad.
At least it gave me a beard on the logo.
All right, gentlemen. Lola from Long Beach here. Two-part question for you. With the Olympics, Serena and Federer, the Patriots, the Cavs, Clemson, and the Cubs, was 2016 the greatest year in sports history? And if so, how did we get there? Keep getting in check.
First of all, that seemed like a really astute sports question. It was like the list of all the great sporting events we've had. We've had some miraculous comebacks in every single sport. All the championships have been excellent this year. But then she said, she's like, was it the greatest? Then she said, if so, how did we get there? Which is really more of a philosophical question. It really starts to get deep. Mm-hmm. Like, how did we get there? And I started thinking about it.
Deeper
I was
than
like,
Atlantis.
I don't know how we got there. She just broke my brain. Thanks to her from Long Beach.
For me, the best year in sports is going to take place when the Lions roar and win the Super Bowl.
That's ridiculous. Jalen, we're going to open up our 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed. We're trying to get more pointed questions, themes, challenges. Mm-hmm. We've challenged our listeners to send to our 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed proposals, either or proposals that we will then evaluate and answer. Are you ready for the first one?
Let's get it.
First one comes from Jalen Williams, spelled just like your name. Shout
what
to
up,
him.
though, namesake?
Would you rather score 50 on your man or hold him to 0? Obviously, Jalen
score
does.
50.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Who cares if you hold your man to 0?
When you
That's their
pick up
fault.
the newspaper, when you were watching the highlight shows, they don't put up who scored the fewest. They put up who scored the most.
Next question. This is from L-Dog. This is good. Remove a beehive or remove a skunk from your house. Huh.
I would think I would rather move the skunk.
Really?
Because
what would be your strategy there?
My strategy is I don't know their ability to attack.
First of all, are you claiming that you are not familiar with a skunk's defense system?
Besides the smell.
That's all they got.
Okay. So if that's the
They're
case,
just stinky squirrels.
It's only one.
With a better outfit.
And also, it's only one thing as opposed to multiple bees in a beehive.
Okay. I want to dig deep on this. Thank you so much for this question, L-Dog. There's a skunk in your house. You're alone. Phone lines are dead. There's 20 miles for the closest neighbor. How do you get the skunk out of your house?
Got to kill the skunk.
We're just going to go violence. I'm luring the skunk out with food.
It depends on if the skunk's near the door.
I will bring the skunk near the door with a trail of food. That would be my technique.
I like your technique a lot better than mine.
Yeah. I'm also allergic to bee stings, so I'm not messing with the beehive. Next question we have is from Anthony. Would you rather be a Hall of Famer with no championships or a bench player with a ring?
So here's an analogy I want to give you, that a player that is in the Hall of Fame is an all-time great like Reggie Miller, my big brother in the league. I've heard this question be asked, so I'm using an example.
This is a very cliched question.
Somebody going to hear this question and say, he didn't make that up. I know I didn't make it. I'm saying it. They will basically say, would you rather have Robert Horry's career or Reggie Miller's career? Mm-hmm. Robert Horry won 7 championships, probably never led a team in points, rebounds, or assists, never made an all-star game. But he has 7 championships, and he was a big-time contributor to the point where we call him Big Shot Bob.
Yeah, a little bit different of a question that was originally proposed, but if given your proposal, which one would you have? I'm going Horry.
In this case, you have to go
Horry. In this case, Horry. But
that's
the original,
an extreme case.
The original was just a bench player with the ring.
That's an extreme case.
I would rather be a Hall of Famer with no championships than a bench player that no one's ever heard of. There was a has-been also ran on a team that won a championship.
Let me answer that for you better.
I thought I did a good job.
So look at the Warriors roster last year.
Okay.
Would I rather, well, the 2 years before, I'd rather be Chris Mullin than Mo Spates. Did Mo Spates win a championship with the Warriors?
Yes. I'd rather be Chris. Yeah, I'd rather be Chris Mullin.
What up, Doe? Throwback. Need to get to St. John's and holla at you.
Next one we have. This is just reveals a lot about who you are. Would you rather be Gronkowski or Belichick?
Belichick. How long can you play and how long can you coach? How many rings does Gronk have? How many does Belichick have?
Well, there's a couple. I'm going to take some things off the table.
Can Belichick trade Gronk?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to take some things off the table. First of all, I'm taking the younger person on most of these because I want to live on the planet for a long time. However, I would say this is Gronk's success is based on the performance of his body. Belichick's success is based on the performance of his mind. You're going to lose your body before you lose your mind. Next question. It's from Reginald. Might be Reggie, our producer. I'm not sure. Would you rather stay in Alaska with no clothes or Arizona with double clothes on?
Arizona with double clothes on.
No doubt. No doubt.
Because I could just go jump in the water.
Arizona's nice. Miguel has one for you. Lions or Pistons championship?
I've seen the Pistons do it. Never seen the Lions do it.
Really? You would pick a Lions championship over a Pistons championship?
It's because I've seen the Pistons already do it. I've seen our bad boys go back-to-back. I've seen our 2004 team win, led by Chauncey and Rip, Big Ben and Rashid. The Lions, you know how many playoff games we won in 50 years?
Yes, I do, actually.
How many?
1.
Okay. How many years?
How did that happen, by the way? Who did they play? Who did they play in that one?
I was like that.
Can we look at the tape? Who was that against? Did we know that happened? Was somebody hurt?
That's wrong.
T. Chang has this question. Would you rather have Gronk as a starting power forward or LeBron as a tight end? Huh. You had to win one game. We're going to have Gronk at power forward or LeBron at tight end.
LeBron at tight end.
I'm going LeBron at tight end too because you can hide in football a lot more than you can hide in basketball. There's just more people. You can scheme away from. You can just, hey, we're going to run to the other side. We're going to bootleg away from LeBron, and we'll put him in a position to catch a pass once in a while. But if you don't belong on an NBA basketball court, everyone can smell that you don't belong on an NBA basketball court. You will get exposed.
The only unanimous MVP in the history of the league last year in the finals was like, where's Steph?
Exactly.
Where's Steph? We're going to make sure the guy that he's guarding shoots the ball.
L-Dog with another good one. Game-winning half-court shot or game-winning dunk?
Half-court shot.
Oh, no, dunk every single time. Are you serious?
I am serious.
Why would you want a game-winning half-court? Let me just tell you. No. You are wrong about this one, and I'm going to convince you. The half-court shot, there's an element of luck involved.
No, it's not.
There is an element of luck involved.
No, it's not. It depends on who's shooting it.
There's an element of luck involved.
Can I give you a physical example then?
Wait, a physical example?
Yeah.
I think that you're misusing the term physical.
Can I give you? No, I'm giving you examples of the physical plays that have taken place. It's, would you rather be Shaq after Kobe crossed over Scotty and catching the lob, Or would you rather be Steph dribbling up the left wing at OKC, knocking down a long three?
The one at OKC was long. It wasn't a half-court shot.
Correct, but if it was a half court. He just took one behind the back recently and made a half-court shot.
You were in my house while that happened, and while he got the pass, before he had even dribbled, what did I say?
That's good.
I was like, he's going to hit this. And he took that with 1.5 seconds on the clock. The buzzer sounded when the ball went through the net. He could have taken at least another 10 feet close to another dribble at least.
That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's not luck. He shot the ball.
I want a game-winning dunk. Can I tell you this? Something that no one talks about is a play that was very important to me. What do people say happened in Game 7 at the end of Game 7? Kyrie hit a 3. Kevin Love got a stop.
I know where you're going. You always talk about this.
Up by 3.
They cost you a moment.
LeBron James drove the lane. Signature cock back. Dunked all over Draymond Green. However, he got fouled. He didn't make the dunk. Had he have made that dunk, that would be more impactful, more memorable, more legendary than if he made a half-court shot.
Well, because the dunk represents an exclamation point because it's represented by power. Shooting the ball is skills, finesse. So it's really, do you want the three-point contest this year or do you want the dunk contest?
January 5th, 1992. Dallas Cowboys at Detroit Lions. You want to know what the final score was?
What?
38-6. You know what we're going to do tomorrow? I'm going to have them do some research on some of the wagers that were placed on that game. Something's going on. In 1992, there's still mafia ties in Vegas. Something's going on. That's just too fishy.
Don't sleep on my Lions.
How did you guys host a playoff game? That's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for listening on ESPN Radio, for watching on ESPN2 and ESPN News, and subscribing.
Thank you
to the Jalen and Jacoby podcast.
You're far too kind.
We give the people what they need.